Hey everybody, it's Keegan here. I'm back with another video for you guys, and it's time for another movie review once again. And today we're going to be talking about three movies this time, all of which I saw in theaters over the past weekend. They're not new movies or anything, but they are some movies I watched for the first time recently, so let's talk about them. So the first film we're going to be talking about is the 1997 science fiction film The Fifth Element, which was directed by Luc Besson, who also co-wrote the screenplay, and this film was originally released on May 9th, 1997. Now, I watched this film for the first time at my favorite theater on Friday of last week, and it's been on my watch list for a long time. And funny thing, I actually own the movie on Blu-ray. I bought it like 3 years ago, but for whatever reason, I never got around to watching it until recently in theaters. Yeah, I know, but that's the case for some of the stuff that I own on physical movie-wise. Anyways, I finally crossed it off my watch list last Friday, and I really enjoyed it. I thought this was a great science fiction film from the late 90s, and I know it's considered a classic. But we'll get to more on that in a minute. But right now, we'll just go to the storyline pretty quickly, and then we'll get into my thoughts on it. Basically, this movie takes place in the future, and it follows a former soldier turned commando named Corbin, played by Bruce Willis. And one day, a mysterious woman named Lee Lu, played by Mila Jovovich, falls from a building and lands on top of his cab, and he tries to protect her from the authorities and the bad guys who are out to get her. And little does Corbin know, he's about to embark on a journey to save the world from a comet that is hurtling towards Earth, and if they don't stop it in a certain amount of time, the world will be destroyed. So Corbin agrees to help out Lilu and the other people out to help save the world by any means necessary. While along the way, a villain named Zorg, played by Gary Oldman, is trying to look for the weapon that could be used to stop the comet, as he intends to use it for himself or something. And without giving away too much, that's basically the story of the film in a nutshell. I really enjoyed The Fifth Element. I thought this was a great science fiction film from the late 90s. It was entertaining. I really liked the setup for the film, like the world design and stuff. Like, it's just, I really like the designs for this film. And the casting is well done too. And Bruce Willis did a great job in this film too. And Mila Jovovich was also great in the film too. You might know her from the Resident Evil movies. And yeah, and Chris Tucker was hilarious in this movie too, and Gary Oldman did a great job as the villain. And I don't know what's my favorite scene of the whole movie. I just can't decide. There's like a lot of really good parts in the movie. One thing that will surprise me though is that I didn't expect there to be so much comedy in the film. Like, the movie was really funny, especially seeing it with a big crowd. But yeah, I really enjoyed The Fifth Element, and it's definitely a classic film for sure. I haven't seen any of the other films from Luc Besson. Well, none that I know of, at least. I'll definitely check out some more of his other films in the future. The one I really do want to check out is Leon the Professional, which came out before this movie, actually. That's one I do want to cross off my watch list someday. But yeah, I don't have anything negative to say about The Fifth Element. Well, none that I can think of at the moment. But if you like science fiction movies, then I think you would enjoy this one. I thought this was a great movie, and I'm glad that I saw it in theaters. And now that I own it on Blu-ray, even though I've already owned it for 3 years, I can watch it whenever I want. But all in all, it was a great science fiction film, and I will definitely check it out again one day. And yep, great movie. Anyways, I'm giving The Fifth Element an 8 out of 10. The next film we're going to be talking about is the 2004 comedy film Kung Fu Hustle, directed by Stephen Chow. And this one I saw in theaters on Saturday, and I actually saw it in 35mm, which is pretty cool. This movie has actually been on my watch list for the longest time, although I didn't really have too much of a clue of what the story is about. Only I've heard of it and heard good things about it. So I went ahead and checked it out. And plus, my favorite theater was doing a screening of it, and it was in 35mm. And I gotta say, this movie was a lot better than I thought it was gonna be. It was fantastic, actually, but we'll get to more on that in a minute. We'll just go through the story really quickly before we talk about this movie any further. Basically, the story of the film is that it takes place in Shanghai, China, in the 1940s, and it follows a gang called the Axe Gang that pretty much take over a town. But then you got a group of residents in the town with extraordinary powers who take on the Axe Gang, and you got a wannabe gangster who has extraordinary powers himself and is trying to make it into the crime life or something. I don't really want to give away too much without giving away any spoilers, but that's pretty much the story of the film in a nutshell. Well, I just want to say for the record, this movie has got to be one of the most entertaining, bizarre, hilarious, over the top, and just one of the most entertaining movies I've ever seen. It's just so much fun to watch, especially seeing it in a bit with a big crowd on the big screen and in 35 millimeter. It was just wow. I had a blast seeing this one in theaters. And I know this movie's supposed to parody a lot of kung fu movies from like the 70s and such, like ones with like Bruce Lee and so on. I'm not really too familiar with kung fu movies, but maybe I'll check out some kung fu movies in the future, but I'm not really too familiar with a lot of those types of movies. But this movie was a whole lot of fun. It was hilarious, and the like the fighting sequences were over the top, but super entertaining and hilarious. And the comedy in this film, like, really, really works. It's like somewhat of a cartoony Looney Tunes style like comedy. If I were to best describe it, it somewhat reminds me a little bit of another film that came out earlier this year called Hundreds of Beavers. Although it's a completely different movie, but some of the comedy in that movie reminds me of reminds me a little bit of the comedy in this film, Kung Fu Hustle. But yeah, this was a blast seeing it in theaters. I would definitely like to check out some more of the other films from this director, Stephen Chow, who also co-starred in the film. And yeah, this movie was just so much fun. I'm glad I saw it in theaters, but one of the most entertaining films like I've ever seen. But if you like these kind of movies that are just over the top and hilarious and just entertaining to watch, I think you'll have a fun time watching this one. But I highly recommend it. I know it's probably the most popular film from this director. But yeah, the only other film that I know of from this director is called CJ7. I think that's what it was called. But I'll definitely check out some more of the other films from this director. All in all, Kung Fu Hustle, great movie. Definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. And I'm giving Kung Fu Hustle a 9 out of 10. And the last film we're going to be talking about in this video is the 1954 film Seven Samurai, which was directed by Akira Kurosawa. And this film I watched for the first time on Sunday at the same theater. And this is a film that's been on my watch list for the longest time. And I know this movie is regarded as one of the greatest films of all time and one of the most influential films of all time as well. And this is a very long movie. It's almost 3.5 hours long, so it's a pretty long film, but I really enjoyed seeing it in theaters, and I can honestly agree with all the hype it's gotten. It's definitely an almost perfect film. But we'll get to more on that in a bit, but we'll just go into the storyline really quickly. Basically, in the film, it takes place in the 16th century in Japan, and there's a poor village that gets raided by some armed bandits every year, stealing all their crop and stuff, which is not good at all. And the villagers are scared and they're fed up with the bandits. And then one of the elders of the village suggests that they all hire some samurai to take on the bandits for the next time they come and try to take over the village. So there are 4 villagers who go out to another village where there is told to be some samurai living, and they manage to hire a veteran samurai who brings along 6 other samurai to the village, and together they all have the villagers prepare the village for the next time for the bandits to come by and try to take over. And without giving away too much, that's basically the story of the film in a nutshell. Now, I just want to say I can totally get behind the hype train with this movie, and I can totally agree that it's definitely one of the greatest films of all time. And I'm actually really impressed with how well this film still holds up almost 70 years after the film's release. And it's a long film, but there was not 1 minute of the 207-minute long runtime where I was bored with the movie. I was engaged with this movie from start to finish, and wow, what a film it was. And I'm glad that I saw it on the big screen with a big crowd of people. It was just quite the experience. I really like the cinematography and the acting. Like all the acting and all the dialogue was just really really well done, and the dialogue is really well written too. And the big battle around the last hour of the movie, like where all the villagers and the samurai team up to take on the bandits when they return to try to raid the village. Like the whole battle was just wow. Definitely one of the best battle sequences in any film period, I'd say. It was just wow. And it was really well made for the time because when this film came out back in 1954, just wow. And I haven't seen any of the other films from Akira Kurosawa, or how you pronounce his last name. I'll definitely check out some of his other films. I know some of his other films are in the Criterion Collection, and this film is also in the Criterion Collection as well. But overall, this film is fantastic, and if you like these kind of movies, well, if you're a big cinema person like I am and haven't seen this movie yet, definitely check it out. It's one of the greatest films of all time, and just wow, just what a movie it was. It was an epic film, and just a great film in general. But anyways, I don't have anything else to add, so I'm giving Seven Samurai a 9.7 out of 10. Alright guys, so that's going to be it for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the video, as always, feel free to leave a like, leave a comment below, subscribe for more videos like this, and turn on notifications, and share the video, and more videos will be coming out soon, so stay tuned for more. Anyways, you guys, that's all I got to say, so until next time, this is Keegan Shepard signing off. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. And yeah, take care, everybody. Peace out. Bye-bye.